And he adopted Quincy. It's nothing else you could do to a man to break him down than to take his woman and adopt his son.
Breaking developments in the high-profile case against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs reveal a significant turn as his former bodyguard, Roger Bonds, has reportedly become a cooperating witness for the prosecution. This pivotal shift comes with the submission of a thumb drive said to contain a trove of potentially incriminating evidence, including encrypted ledgers that could illuminate the financial intricacies of Combs' operations, detailed late-night shift rosters that may reveal patterns of staff movement and activity during critical periods, and a series of internal chat logs that investigators believe map a concerning pattern of behind-closed-doors conduct.
I've never actually seen nothing. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you play that to be in hate, and you say, yo, niggas just hating on it. Or sometimes you don't want to see that side of a person because you with them every day.
Across Combs' extensive network of managed properties, stretching from the vibrant nightlife of Miami to the entertainment hub of Los Angeles, these digital breadcrumbs are now under intense scrutiny, with prosecutors asserting that the metadata embedded within these files corroborates timelines provided by earlier witnesses and aligns with router connection reports already in their possession, potentially painting a more comprehensive picture for the jury as the trial unfolds. The implications of Bonds' cooperation are far-reaching, not only for Combs' defense strategy, but also for the broader understanding of the allegations against him. A central piece of evidence emerging from Bonds' cooperation is a spreadsheet labeled Guest Care Roster Master, a seemingly innocuous title that prosecutors allege holds a key to understanding potentially illicit activities.
There comes a time when you're in a situation that may seem like a good situation, but if you're not waking up happy, or if you disgruntled, or you really don't want to be around that person, you find every excuse to get out of there.
Each row in this meticulously maintained log reportedly lists a specific date, a location code identifying various properties, team leader initials for staff assignments, and a crucial series of time blocks meticulously marking guest wing door cycles. The term guest care itself appears over 600 times within the document, raising questions about its true meaning. Bonds has reportedly told investigators that these entries coincided with what staff informally referred to as aftercare resets, specific periods when standard operating procedures shifted to include the replacement of linens, the thorough deodorization of rooms, and, significantly, the cycling off of internal security cameras for what were described as proprietary privacy reasons.
I'm not none of that. You're not going to hear me get on here and come up with things or say things. I got brought into this by Cassie. You know what I'm saying? She mentioned my name in the lawsuit. So that's when I came out because, like I said, I got daughters.
The prosecution intends to present a compelling case by demonstrating that the precise door cycle timestamps recorded in Bond's spreadsheet directly overlap with inactive intervals meticulously extracted from security system archives recovered under earlier warrants, a temporal alignment that, if proven at trial, could severely undermine the defense's claims that any gaps in camera surveillance were merely random occurrences or routine maintenance. In a parallel development that underscores the high stakes of the legal battle, Sean Combs has made a definitive decision to reject a plea deal offered by the government, steadfastly maintaining his unwavering claim of innocence against the serious allegations leveled against him. Combs has publicly stated that the encounters in question involved consenting adults.
You do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like hating on, like doing things with people I done business with that he done business with. He would say shit that I was like, he said that to you?
Right.
I was like, yeah, so all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it. So they want the girls out.
A cornerstone of his defense strategy as he prepares to face the scrutiny of a jury. This resolute stance sets the stage for a potentially lengthy and contentious trial, where the burden of proof will lie squarely with the prosecution to convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt of Combs' guilt. Meanwhile, the defense team is actively working to undermine the credibility of Roger Bonds, arguing that his decision to cooperate with the prosecution is motivated by a desire for leniency in his own unrelated legal troubles, specifically a firearm sentence that could be significantly reduced through his testimony. They are also suggesting that Bond's memory and interpretation of events may be unreliable, painting a picture of a disgruntled former employee seeking to leverage his inside knowledge for personal gain.
early on, you got Uptown Records, I'll Be Sure. How did that go? Did he acquiring Kim Porter from I'll Be Sure?
I can only tell you things that he said. He said, yo, I seen her and I got to have her. Things he said like, yo, I used to come to work every day and she was the first thing that I seen.
A narrative they will likely emphasize heavily during cross-examination in an attempt to sway the jury's perception of his testimony and the evidence he has provided. As the legal proceedings gather momentum, the specter of previously unverified claims involving celebrity tapes and comparisons to the notorious Jeffrey Epstein case have surfaced, fueled by public speculation and the intense media attention surrounding the trial. However, Diddy's legal team has vehemently denied any connection to such allegations, particularly those involving minors, seeking to distance their client from the deeply disturbing narratives associated with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. This preemptive defense underscores the sensitivity of these issues and the potential for public perception to influence the jury's deliberations.
Diddy ran up on me, yeah, nigga, you heard what happened last night, right? I said, what happened last night? He said, man, we was about to give it to Suge. I said, what happened? So he said, at nighttime, Diddy would ask for burgers in the middle of the night.
Simultaneously, the prosecution is strategically building its case by presenting a detailed analysis of financial records, including evidence of significant cash withdrawals that coincide with key events outlined in Bonds' testimony and notable gaps in corporate charge card statements. An IRS analyst has testified that the missing transaction numbers align with manual deletion events captured in the card issuer's log files, suggesting a deliberate effort to conceal financial transactions rather than simple bookkeeping errors. This financial trail aims to bolster the credibility of Bonds' account and provide an independent layer of corroboration for the alleged illicit activities. The ripple effects of this high-profile case are already being felt within the entertainment industry, prompting a widespread reevaluation of security protocols and event management practices.
You gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
Nigga, you can take the but he wants you.
That have long prioritized absolute discretion and confidentiality. The revelations emerging from the trial, particularly regarding shift roster integrity and unexplained spikes in supply chain orders, have triggered concerns among venue insurers, who are now updating their questionnaires to include more stringent requirements for detailed inventory tracking disclosures. One major insurer has even indicated that future policies will mandate documentation of linen turnover rates in relation to guest room capacity, a direct response to the patterns identified in Bonds' evidence. Furthermore, a global tour support firm has issued a notice advising clients to conduct independent audits of their private event procedures, acknowledging that long-standing legacy playbooks for security and guest management are no longer defensible in the face of heightened legal and regulatory scrutiny. An executive at a major record label has also stated that none of its top artists will attend closed-phone retreats until best practices guidelines for such gatherings are standardized, highlighting a growing awareness of potential liability and the need for greater transparency in high-profile events. Legal analysts closely following the trial emphasize the strategic importance of Roger Bonds' testimony for the prosecution. His insider narrative, providing a first-hand account of the alleged activities, dovetails with the technical trail of digital evidence already presented in court, creating a potentially powerful synergy. If the jury perceives Bonds as a forthright and credible witness, his testimony could significantly reinforce the earlier digital exhibits, making the prosecution's case more compelling and easier for jurors to understand. Conversely, the defense will undoubtedly focus its efforts on convincing the jury that Bonds is a self-serving individual whose testimony should be viewed with skepticism due to his own legal predicament and potential motivations for cooperating. Should the defense succeed in casting doubt on Bonds' credibility, the prosecution will then need to rely heavily on the strength of the documentary evidence, the spreadsheets, chat logs, and financial records, to stand independently and prove the allegations against Combs. To maintain the trial schedule, the court has imposed time limits on Bonds' direct testimony, underscoring the pressure on both sides to present their cases efficiently and effectively. Following Bonds' testimony, the prosecution plans to call a logistics contractor who handled the supply orders flagged by the unusual linen turnover invoices.
You and Puff haven't liked each other business-wise for a long time.
Well, that's why. It's only business. It was really, away from that, I explained why I didn't hang out with him, right? Because it's a little fluffy stuff going on.
It's not your scene.
It's not my style.
Not your scene.
They hug you from the front and the back at the same time.
Aiming to further corroborate the patterns identified in Bonds' records. The defense, in anticipation of this line of questioning, is preparing to introduce expert testimony intended to normalize bulk supply orders during peak entertainment seasons, arguing that such spikes are a common occurrence and do not necessarily indicate any illicit activity. After the prosecution rests its case in chief, reserving time for rebuttal should the defense present its own witnesses, the trial's trajectory will depend heavily on whether the defense opts to call live witnesses or proceed directly to closing arguments. In preparation for this crucial phase, both legal teams have submitted proposed jury instructions, addressing complex issues such as the authentication of electronic records, the legal considerations for cooperating witness testimony, and the proper interpretation of business record spreadsheets. Judge Aaron Subramanian is currently reviewing these submissions and has scheduled a charge conference to resolve any differences in language or legal interpretation, ensuring that the jury receives clear and accurate guidance as they deliberate the evidence. Appellate attorneys, observing the trial, anticipate that any conviction relying significantly on the alignment of spreadsheet data and network logs will likely face challenges focusing on the admissibility and interpretation of expert testimony. In an apparent effort to mitigate this risk, the prosecution has strategically anchored its technical points with first-hand insider explanations provided by Bonds, effectively merging lay testimony with digital corroboration. This approach aims to make the complex technical evidence more accessible and relatable to the jury, reducing the likelihood of successful appeals based on the misuse or misinterpretation of expert opinions. As the details of Bonds' cooperation continue to unfold in open court, private security firms across the entertainment industry are undergoing a significant shift in their operational philosophies. Companies that once heavily emphasized absolute confidentiality in their marketing materials are now actively promoting audit-ready record-keeping and transparent staffing hierarchies.
All now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like he says something fabulous and he goes, "Yo, but me and you, we ain't party. Like we need to party."
Signaling an institutional move toward greater accountability and traceable oversight in an industry historically known for its secrecy and exclusivity. Regardless of the ultimate verdict in the case against Sean Combs, Roger Bonds' decision to cooperate with authorities and provide the thumb drive containing the alleged evidence has already had a profound and lasting impact on private security practices within the entertainment sector. Firms that previously marketed their services based on unwavering discretion are now highlighting the importance of transparency audits and clearly defined guest relations protocols. Event planners who once routinely implemented mandatory phone check stations at private gatherings are now required to provide written justifications for each collection point, reflecting a growing awareness of privacy concerns and potential legal liabilities. Furthermore, new contractual frameworks are increasingly specifying that any shift rotation involving off-camera housework must include dual sign-offs from both a supervisor and an independent steward, creating a system of checks and balances designed to prevent potential abuses. These sweeping changes, born directly from the revelations stemming from one bodyguard's backup drive, suggest that the aftershocks of his cooperation will continue to shape industry practices long after the courtroom lights dim and the final judgment is rendered. The prosecution commenced the presentation of its case by introducing the initial tranche of exhibits derived directly from Roger Bonds' thumb drive, meticulously laying the digital foundation for their allegations. A senior FBI examiner with expertise in digital forensics guided the jurors through the file header data, establishing a clear chain of custody and verifying that each spreadsheet had been created on a laptop registered to the security department of Combs Enterprises and last modified during Bond's tenure with the company. The examiner specifically highlighted a master roster that intricately paired staff initials with hourly door sensor readings across two of Combs' prominent estates, providing a granular view of activity patterns. During a rigorous cross-examination, counsel for Sean Combs pressed the examiner on whether the mere presence of sensor activity, without additional context, definitively demonstrated any misconduct. The FBI examiner responded that the files revealed consistent and statistically significant correlations between door-open events during specific time windows when internal security cameras were inexplicably offline and cleaning crews were logged in as being on duty. Despite the defense's objections, the court ultimately admitted the roster into evidence, ruling that the necessary authentication thresholds had been adequately met, paving the way for the prosecution to build upon this digital framework with further witness testimony and corroborating evidence.